This is the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Dory Stewart.
Welcome back to another episode of the FXBG Neighbors Podcast, where we share the stories of our favorite local brands. I have a special guest joining me today. We've got Justin Marlowe joining us, who is a local author right here in Fredericksburg. Justin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for the platform, and I really appreciate it.
I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and learning about your new book. So let's start there. Let's start with sharing with us. Tell us the name of your book and all about it.
Well, the book is called Perfect Strangers, Echoes of a Black Suburban Youth. It was published by the Empowered Press in August of 2024. And it kind of chronicles little pieces or nuggets of my life from as far back as I can remember as a toddler until roughly the age of 17. And it centers around so many, I guess, like water cooler kind of subjects, politics, racism, identity issues, et cetera. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations. I know that it takes a lot of work to write a book and to publish a book. And so tell me a little bit about the backstory and, what prompted you to make the decision to decide to write the book.
Well, the backstory had been building for a long time. Obviously as a memoir, it's about one's life. So really the backstory is from the inception of your memories, I guess, as a child. But as far as delving into actually beginning to write, it started maybe about 10 years ago. And it literally was just a nugget of mental information that I was like, I should share this story with people.
Yeah.
I thought it was viable. I had never really delved or heard much about African Americans from certain suburban areas sharing their personal stories on a large scale. So I really had always wanted to do that. And then in 2023, I just got the gumption to put my thoughts to paper and see how it all kind of sounded to me initially. And if it sounded good, then I thought it was fair to embark on a full-scale project.
Yeah. I love that. And so talk to me a little bit about the goal of the book. You're sharing your memoir, you're sharing your life experiences, but how are you, promoting it and using it for others? Because a lot of times, yes, it's very therapeutic for ourselves to write a book and share our stories, but then there's also the reader. So talk to me a little bit about the goals there.
Well, I've shared a lot via social media and have gotten a lot of great responses and feedback. However, within the past year since the book's release, I've also had the pleasure of speaking at numerous businesses, and so as far as like speaking engagements or book talks where we can just sit down and individuals who have read the book can sit there and ask me questions and dissect like my process or my mental state at a given time. So throughout all of that, and like I said, also via social media, it's been such a cathartic and euphoric experience just to have so many people give their input, whether it's positive or negative, and ask questions. So the ramifications are sort of a lot of times sitting within individuals asking questions, which is really what I set out to accomplish, was to have dialogue about an experience that was underrepresented.
Can you give me an example of maybe a lesson learned or an experience that you have found that readers are connecting with?
A lot of people so I grew up in a lot of different places. So yes, I'm in Fredericksburg now, and I've spent most of my adult or teenage life in the Fredericksburg/Stafford area.
Mhm.
But there's a good section of the book where I discuss my time period living in Louisiana.
Oh,
And as a military kid, when you go all over the place, you experiencing different cultural outlets all the time. And that one, given that it was in the Deep South, was a different sort of um, a different manner in which you have to internalize what you're dealing with.
mhm.
And I wasn't prepared for it, yet I decided to explain my feelings with respect to what I was dealing with. And a
Mm.
lot of readers have asked questions about, like, so what was it like being born in DC, you lived in Germany, you lived in Kansas, and then you went to Louisiana? Like, that's like crazy. So a lot of them want to know specifically what was it like in Louisiana, because the culture is such a um it's a very specific, deep Southern culture with has a lot of demographic and racial ramifications, which I was totally okay with speaking about. And the questions centering around that locale are
Mhm.
what have been the most prevalent.
Interesting. I imagine that there are a lot of people that can relate, especially if you are going out to events and speaking in the Fredericksburg area, because there's so many military families and so many people that have moved all around.
Yeah, I've heard
Um,
that. I've heard people say, like, when I was
mhm.
there, it was like in the X, Y, and Z. And then I'm like, man, like,
Yeah.
that's why I do this. That's why it's so interesting, especially with a memoir.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this. So has it prompted in you a spark to continue and write additional books? Like what's next for you?
Yes, I'm in the midst of actually a lot of poetry.
Ah,
So I've been published in 7 poetry literary magazines in the past
wow.
6 months. I do that in the middle of writing my next novel.
Awesome. Let me ask you this. If you met someone maybe at one of your speaking events and someone also was thinking about writing a memoir, what advice would you give someone who is starting to embark on a project like that?
To become immersed in yourself.
Hmm.
Look at whatever you've experienced and take what you've experienced, like take it seriously,
Mm-hmm.
and look at how you visualize whatever those moments are or have been for
Mm-hmm.
you. I would say also don't worry about how others felt as much,
Mm-hmm.
because you're telling your story.
Right.
So worry about how whatever events, incidents, or however you want to internalize those terms, worry about how they affected you and how you see the world or how you saw the world, and can come back and forth between how you saw it versus how you see it now.
Mm-hmm. That's really good advice. I imagine it's both easy and very difficult writing a memoir, you know?
Yeah, the words flowed like crazy. And so when
Uh,
I'm writing now, it's very different because they don't flow the same way. Because in a memoir, your story's been created already. You're
mm-hmm.
writing about your past.
Mm-hmm.
As I write fiction, I'm creating and I'm navigating the process of creating, and also fixated on these little nuances within this creative place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very different, sometimes frustrating. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I love creating. So at the end of the day, it's all fun, but it's just not the
Yeah,
same.
that makes sense. What is something that you do to keep you in creative mode when you are not feeling creative?
I watch a lot of podcasts,
Okay.
and it sparks me. To create, to laugh, to have a good time. I also exercise a lot, and I mean love to listen to music. And whenever I'm really struggling with something that I'm writing, I will put on like a historical period piece,
Mm-hmm.
and that can often like kind of push me in a direction to incite some creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I love that. That's good advice.
That's for me, though. Someone else might not really, vibe with that.
Yeah.
When I was writing the memoir, I was watching a lot of pop culture, like vintage television, like Facts of Life, Different Strokes, Step by Step, Family Matters, Jeffersons.
Kind of getting yourself back into the time period that you're writing about?
Some of that was a lot of it. Yeah. To sort of like pinpoint like, oh, boom, that was a trigger to, when I saw that episode of whatever show. And I actually have quotes from the Facts of Life theme song in the book, which I felt, it was pretty interesting that it hit me, when I was writing, and I felt like it was very warranted.
I love that. So what is something that you wish the listeners knew about you or about your books?
That everything that I write is extremely organic. So you're not ever getting like a fake side or like a piece of me that maybe is like riddled within a facade. Like it's all very organic, very well thought out, at least from my perspective, and delivered as if I really care about what I am doing.
Yeah. Interesting.
By the way, that the genre was Black futurism. I'm sorry, I could not think of the term. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
in the vein of like Black Panther kind of ish.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for explaining that. So when you're not busy writing, what are you doing for fun?
Exercising, watching podcasts. I love chatting on the phone with like my really close friends. That prompts me with a lot of ideas as well. So those would be the main things I do for fun. That maybe sounds kind of boring.
Yeah.
I love going shopping too, but I haven't really done that in a while.
What are some of your go-to spots in Fredericksburg?
To shop?
To shop or to eat or to visit?
I love Castilla's. I love, what's it called? Global Threads. I think it might be called Global Threads. Spirits. It's been used to be a kind of a go-to for me. Yeah, those are the main ones for me. I haven't really been out very much lately, but those were, sometimes Happy Endings was like a kind of like a place I used to really delve into.
Yeah, those are some good spots. So are you going to be at any upcoming events? If the listeners want to, learn more from you or meet you in person, where can they find you?
I was at the Fredericksburg Indie Book Festival in early October, but at the moment I don't have any. But I will be in touch with the bookstore Tales and Tales.
Oh yeah.
With doing an event in the early winter phases. We've talked about that. So if anything, that would be the one. So look for that. If not, you can catch all of my promotions on my Instagram page at J Marlowe Writes, and I have all my poetry and any developments whatsoever that I am a part of.
Nice. Amazing. I'll put all the links in the show notes.
Okay.
Justin, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today and sharing your books with us. I need to get my hands on it, and I want to hear all those references from the Facts of Life.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to fxbgneighborspodcast.com.